Hi everyone, I'm Emily with Chipped and Polished. In this video, I'll be painting this French Provincial style Bombay chest. This was my entry for the Ivy Lane Home Glamourati / Neo Deco Challenge. It's one of the Pinterest Predicts trends for 2026, inspired by 20s glam and Art Deco, but with modern day minimalism. This chest is pretty new, it's not vintage, and it's not solid wood. The top is flaking a bit, it's got a few scratches, but I think it'll be perfect for this challenge. It also has these super deep drawers, so it's going to give somebody a lot of storage. Before I start cleaning, I want to remove the old hardware. I'll save these for another project down the road. These drawers were very difficult to remove because of the drawer stoppers they have, so I enlisted some help and finally got them out with a lot of pulling and tugging that unfortunately resulted in a broken drawer rail. Got those out, managed to break a drawer rail, but I'll glue it back, it'll be fine. Always have it money, but it's always got drops. Now that I have those drawers out, I'm going to start cleaning with a mixture of half water, half crud cutter. This will remove any dust from the time it's been sitting in my garage, as well as any oil buildup over the years from being handled and household cleaners. I don't want any of those things being ground down into the surface when I sand, only for them to come back up through my paint and cause adhesion issues down the road. I'm also taking the time to clean the inside really well. I do this with all my pieces because dust and little things love to hide in here, and when someone buys my work, I want it to feel as new as possible. You can't do that if there's still dust bunnies lurking. This drawer had residue from something stuck in it, but I was able to just give it an extra spritz of cleaner and it came off with some scrubbing. After my cleaner, I grabbed a clean microfiber cloth and rinsed everything well with clean water. Not rinsing all of your cleaner off can cause as many issues as not having cleaned it all, so this step is super important. You don't want any residue from your cleaner hanging around. I gave everything overnight to dry before fixing the broken drawer rail. I had glue to both sections and pressed it down into place before wiping away the excess glue and securing it with a lot of painter's tape. I was able to add one clamp to the end and then a weight inside just to hold everything down in place. Next, I focused on the flaking top. I used a scraper tool to gently remove any loose bits. Again, this piece doesn't have any wood aside from the drawer rails, but these flakes were almost like working with a thin veneer. To patch these up, I'm using Bondo. If you don't already know, Bondo is a two-part epoxy putty. You have the filler and a cream hardener. Once you mix these two together, it will start the chemical reaction and you'll have about 10 to 15 minutes to use it. After those few minutes, it's ready to sand smooth. It's best to work with Bondo in small batches and keep in mind that the more hardener you use, the faster it will harden. I'm also using it to fill the whole hardware holes here since I have something a little different in mind for hardware. With that dry, I can start scuff sanding. I'm using a 150 grit sandpaper here, and I have a squishy interface pad on my sander so I don't grind down any of those curves. I'll link these and all the other products I'm using in the description below. I want to take a minute and thank you for watching my video and supporting my channel in that way. If you haven't already, I would love it if you would subscribe so you can see more of my videos in the future, like this video, and comment and let me know what you think of the Glamourati / Neo Deco theme. I had the bright idea to try and cut this existing Bondo away instead of sanding it. Unfortunately, it just resulted in it pulling everything off and chipping that existing factory finish. So I just sanded everything down, applied more Bondo. I would have needed to do this anyway since hardware holes typically require a second filling. The last bit of sanding I did was on the top. I'm still using a 150 grit to get everything as smooth and level as possible while scuffing the surface so my paint has something to grip onto. I did go back over these spots one more time with some wood filler just to make sure they were completely level. I couldn't really get into this thin line with either of my sanders, so I used this sanding block to help me here and make sure that the rest of the edge was all scuffed up. These sanding blocks are great for any areas that my sander maybe can't reach like this. They're also great whenever I just don't want to use my power sander for some reason, or if I need hand sanding but I want it to go quicker and be easier on my hands. Once I had everything scuffed up and smoothed out, I wiped it all down with a damp microfiber cloth to remove any dust. Dust from sanding can also keep your paint from adhering, and it can cause swirl marks and scratch marks too. I let everything dry out overnight before priming with shellac the next day. Normally I like priming with Zinisser's 123 primer, but I knew I was going to be painting this piece dark, so it made sense to have a clear or dark primer in this case. The shellac is also going to seal up any exposed MDF or particle board so it won't swell when I start painting. I'm trying to keep each pass light while overlapping a bit so I get full coverage. While that was drying, I played around with a few different paint color combos. I knew that I wanted to do a layered dark moody green. I had originally picked up Manor green from Fusion Mineral Paint, but I felt like it was a bit brighter than what I was going for, so I mixed it with some of their coal black to deepen it a bit. And I have a very sophisticated way of measuring my paint. 1 spoonful of black paint to 15 spoonfuls of green paint. For those of you who can't tell, I'm being very sarcastic when I say it's sophisticated. It's just 1 part black to 15 parts green, however that works. And I did end up going back and adding more black just because it felt a little bit light next to this swatch. So this was my base coat. My thinking was that this would give whatever other layers and blending I did a solid green background. I did 1 full coat of this and let it dry completely before moving on. If you've seen past videos of mine, you may wonder why I didn't just spray this layer on. And I would have if my sprayer hadn't died, but it is possible to still get a super smooth finish if you don't have a sprayer. Mist your brush and the surface with a bit of water to extend the open time and help it level a bit. And after it's dry, make sure you're sanding between each coat of paint with a 300 to 600 grit sandpaper. After that base coat had dried, I decided to go ahead and drill my new hardware holes. I centered them about 5 inches in from either side and used the painter's tape to keep things from splitting and mark where I wanted my holes. To me, the finished product looks much more glamorous and modern than the original French provincial pulls. Next, I filled any little dents and scratches with a spot glazing putty from Bondo. This isn't made for deep gouges or larger areas like the 2-part epoxy I shared earlier, but it's fantastic for shallow nicks and bumps. It's super easy to apply and it sands back beautifully. And I'm just sanding this back with a 220 grit sandpaper here. I'm using this hand sanding block so it doesn't take too much off. I wiped all of the dust away and then did another layer of my dark green to cover up that red filler. While that darker green was drying, I mixed up a lighter green to layer on top of it. This was 3 parts Manor green and 1 part conservatory. I had an idea in my head of what I wanted the finished product to look like here, but there was a little trial and error involved in getting there. I thought that I would need a little bit of a light blue for this look, but in the end I didn't. That being said, I dotted on a bit of Fusion Seaside, then misted it with water to keep it open. And then I added my lighter green in random spots around it, trying to kind of blend them together. When trying a new technique, there has to be a level of just playing with it and trusting the process until it makes sense and you get what you want. But I admit that this looks like an absolute mess. I added another layer of my darker green thinking that this would help everything blend together. It didn't. I tried a sponge to see if maybe a little bit of texture would help, but it just pulled the darker green right off. I decided to move on to the other side and see if that would go better. I started off the same way, dotting on that Seaside blue and misting it with water. And I didn't catch this until editing my footage, and maybe it's because I added too much water and it ran too much, but over the next few seconds, I see a face appear here. I personally think it looks like a lion, and I showed my mom a photo of it and she said it looks like a demon. Here's an outline of what I see. Let me know in the comments, what do you think it looks like? Or maybe you don't see anything at all and you think we're nuts. While that Seaside was still wet, I went over it with my Manor green that wasn't mixed with anything else. That took too much blue away, so I tried flicking and brushing and sponging, and it still didn't look right. Since it felt so far away from what I wanted, I decided to let everything dry out before trying anything else. When I came back to it, I painted on another base layer to the side that I had started on the day before to kind of reset it. I decided to go back and add a bit of black to my lighter green also to tone it down because it felt a bit on the yellow side. Working with the opposite side, I misted it with water before laying down a coat of my darker green. While that was still wet, I randomly dotted on my lighter green before taking a dry brush and pouncing at the light green to soften and blend it into the darker green. Every few pounces, I wiped my pouncing or blending brush off on a paper towel to keep it dry and mostly paint-free. I had a few unsuccessful attempts at doing the same technique to the top of the chest, so I decided to wet sand it to really smooth everything out and make sure I didn't have any brush strokes. After wet sanding, I repeated the same technique, starting with a full layer of my dark green and dotting in my light green, then pouncing and blending it in. After blending in my light green, I dotted on a darker green to try to soften it further, but I had way too much of my light green in this attempt. So again, it didn't quite pan out. I ended up getting it to match what I wanted in the end using the same technique, but with less of my lighter green. I did really like the way the blend of the darker green looked over the light green, so I decided to keep that in all of the other sections I painted. I think here's where I really saw it start to take shape. I knew that I wanted everything to look like the side of the chest that's on the right hand side of the screen, and after playing around with it through a lot of trial and error, I pretty much had my technique down. Full layer of dark green, dotting on the light green, pounce and blend that in, dot on and blend in the darker green. Once each section was finished and dry, I sealed everything with Varathane satin water-based polyurethane. I applied 2 coats to the drawers and body of the chest and a 3rd coat to the top. One of my favorite parts of this project is the paper I used to line the inside of the drawers. I lined it up with the back corner and pulled the backing paper about half of the way off before starting to smooth it out with the transfer tool I have. You can also use a credit card or something similar for this. Once I got to the curve at the front of the drawer, I made a few tiny tears at the edge so it would fit into place before smoothing it down the rest of the way and trimming the excess with a razor knife. The finishing touch were these vintage-inspired pendant pulls I found on Amazon. Let's take one more quick look at the before. This piece was a little dated, a little dusty, it had some scratches and those flaking spots on top, but it was still a great piece with a lot of purpose and life left in it. And here is the final product. I really love how this one turned out. I honestly hated it halfway through when I was trying to get all of those paint colors to cooperate, but I'm glad I pushed through and kept trying because this is exactly what I had in mind. Those greens are super rich and they really do make up the perfect jewel tones. I would love to know your thoughts on this project in the comments below, and I always love hearing from you and chatting with viewers. Please like this video and subscribe so you can see more of my projects in the future. Thank you so much for watching.